Happy Aloha Friday, everyone, and welcome back to the CO2 Rundown. I'm your host, Chad Owens. Yeah, not quite the Aloha shirt. This is my throwback Roosevelt Rough Riders sort of, I guess you would call this almost like a Letterman's jacket, but this is one of our baseball jackets. And there's a reason why I'm rocking Rough Riders today. I got a special guest joining us later in the show. But we're gonna get to that. Hope you guys had a great week. Like I said, it is Aloha Friday. Happy Aloha Friday again. So like we always do, let's dive on in to the CO2 Rundown. All right, our Rainbow Warrior football team is taking on New Mexico State tomorrow, and Stephen Tsai has the full game analysis. Listen, football's all sports, but I'm just going to, football here is very, very detail oriented. That's the difference between winning and losing. And so you guys got to check out Stephen Tsai's column in today's Honolulu Star-Advertiser talking about both sides of the ball, three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Stephen Tsai is breaking it down. Make sure you guys check out his game day analysis to get an inside look on tomorrow's matchup. Wow, I did not know this, but Ann Miller has a column in today's Honolulu Star-Advertiser talking about the Alawai golf course. This right here makes me want to go play at the Alawai golf course just because of the history of what I just learned. 90 years old. The Alawai golf course opened back in 1931. Okay, you guys listen to some of these stats. 56 years from the opening, they averaged 544 rounds per day. There were a 9-hole course, but 544 rounds per day. The national average was 300 rounds per day. Yeah, I play golf, and I couldn't imagine that many rounds coming through a day. They were busy, one of the busiest golf courses, I believe, in the country at the time. And check this out. On the weekdays, it was $4, and on the weekends, it was $6. Today, it's $26 and $30. And the biggest story and the thing that got me sort of like wowed was people would sleep there overnight, and the starter would come knocking on their windows. They sleep in their car, knocking on their windows to get them up, to hand them a ticket. This was before you could call in. And then when that started, I believe in 1986, the Honolulu Advertiser called it Dial a Prayer, because they would get nearly 30,000 calls of people trying to book tee times, and only 75 would get through. So that is amazing. Shout out to the Alawai Golf Course for having that history. I guess now I know why a lot of people go there. I guess, the old timers, they know the history, and it's sort of that home course for them. And I'm going to go back and play the Alawai Golf Course here shortly. But hey, look, check out Ann Miller's column. It's a great one. There's a lot more to read than what I had shared with you guys, but I had to dive a little bit deeper into that one. In some ILH football action, Damien is looking to keep their playoff hopes alive, their state title hopes alive. And I talked about Damien High School last week and how it reminded me of when I was in high school. Yeah, smaller numbers. Guys playing both sides of the ball. It's a battle. They've been going through some adversity. And, there's nothing better than that feeling of having your back against the wall and having to scratch, claw, dig, and do everything that you can in your power to get a W, to keep the goal there and achievable. So check out that story by Paul Honda in today's Honolulu Star-Advertiser. And, I think they're taking on Iolani. wishing both teams good luck. I know ILH, hey, you got St. Louis, you got Kamehameha, some of these top schools put in a hole. But you know what? At the end of the day, there is so many victories that can happen over the course of a single game, over the course of an entire football season, right? One game doesn't define you. And so I just want to reiterate that to not only Damien, but all the high schools, all the football players out there and student athletes. Don't let the games define you, right? Let your body of work, let your what you do in the classroom, what you do on your own, right? Those times where you're training on your own, those are the things that define you. Game days, and that's just where we get to just enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? Making those plays. Win or lose, you were out there giving it your all. That's all that's ever asked by every coach that I've ever played for. At the end of the day, you want to win the game, but there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of victories to be won throughout the process. As UFC 266 approaches tomorrow, where the rematch of Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz is going to happen, Billy Hall takes us back in his article talking about where Robbie Lawler would fight right down on Ward Street in the Blaisdell Center in Super Brawls and our local promotions here. You know, and Robbie Lawler says that, you know, that sort of helped resurrect his career, get him back on track. You know, them days of like Egan Inoue, Falanico, Vitale, all these guys, Lawler was in that mix. And so that's exciting to know that we've been putting on fights here, and now we got some of the biggest and best fighters in the world. Hence why I believe we need to get the UFC over here, right? I know Max has been talking about it. We all want a big UFC event here. We deserve it. We've got the fighters, we've got the following, we've got the fans. And so check out Billy Hall's article to dive a little bit deeper in that Blaisdell history of Robbie Lawler and all those amazing promotions that happened there. But good luck, brother. Good luck tomorrow. I hope it's going to be an epic rematch between you and Nick Diaz. And here we go, right? The reason why I got this special Rough Riders jacket on is because my special guest is my former classmate and Olympic wrestling medalist, Clarissa Chun. I had a chance to catch up with her and talk about sort of like her being a pioneer. She won the first state title, you know, when women's wrestling in high school got sanctioned and became a sport here. I had to learn that. You know, so there's a reason why she went on and became an Olympic medalist. There's a reason why she is the Women's Olympic, one of their coaches. Right? This is what she does. She lives this. She's been there from the beginning. She used to wrestle the boys, right? Whooping their butts. And, you know, you're going to see in this interview, you know, there was a point where, you know, we got a little, and I felt her strength, I felt her quickness, and that passion and that grit. You know, maybe it's a Rough Riders thing. You know, I feel like I got some of that too along my path. But anyway, I had a blast with Clarissa on this interview and this sit down. So nice to catch up. She's got so many amazing things ahead of her. Check it out. Aloha everyone, Chad Owens here. This is the CO2 Rundown, and I have the privilege of sitting with my classmate, teammate, Roosevelt. You know, hence, look, I got the Roosevelt red and gold on today.
I didn't get the memo.
It's okay, Clarissa Chun. I mean, she's U.S. Olympics. She's represented on the highest stage for us out of Hawaii. Two-time Olympian, bronze medalist, and now assistant coach for the U.S. women's wrestling Olympic team. So, look, first of all, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
What was Tokyo like?
Tokyo was different from any other Olympics. I'm just happy that the athletes had the opportunity to compete on the biggest world stage they had, I feel sad for the opportunity that Tokyo missed out on, and for the athletes and everyone involved in the Olympic movement because of the whole COVID pandemic situation, But hey, our team brought it. We brought the energy. Anyone that could be in the arena, that were credentialed, if they weren't in the warm-up area, they were in the stands, cheering as if we brought the biggest crowd, from all across the world.
Yeah, and that's as athletes, right?
Yeah.
You've been there, and you experienced it with the crowd.
Yeah.
That energy, when I played, I fed off of that energy. You make a big play, you hear the roar, and you just want to keep going, right? You do a counter move, or you pin, or you do something exciting on the mat, you feel that energy.
Yep.
And as a coach now, did you find that you had to motivate your team and motivate the wrestlers more because they didn't have that?
Honestly, at this level, they all wanted it, right? They didn't. At the end of the day, they would have wanted their families and friends to be able to witness it firsthand in the arena. But at the end of the day, they're ready to compete and wanted to attain that gold medal, right? Just the opportunity to represent Team USA, where they're from, wherever they were from, and just lay it all out there, all their hard work that they've been putting in, and the work that they've been putting in during COVID, right? Whatever their situation was, how they battled through that. Everyone was in the same situation, and how they just wanted to be able to let it all shine.
Yeah, so. I spoke about that on one of my segments about the resilience of professional athletes, the resilience to overcome adversities throughout a career, but then you sprinkle in, this added piece of adversity, and it really just showed the true resilience of these elite level athletes that you got to witness firsthand. Yeah. So hats off to you guys, hats off to the team, and hats off to all the athletes that didn't just show up, they went out there and performed, right? And you put the when you're in it, you put the blinders on anyway. Yeah. Crowd, no crowd. Yeah. It's me. Wrestling is that sport, man. It's me and, all right, right here. Yeah. It's me and you. Yeah. Right? I'm gonna do my thing, and you have that extreme focus. Yeah. So that's exciting. We were chatting a little bit before about the whole women's wrestling and where it was and where it came from. And I'm not sure if you guys know this. I didn't know this. Yeah. We went to high school together, and in that time, in 1998, when Clarissa won the state title, that was the first year that women's wrestling was sanctioned in Hawaii, and Hawaii was the first state to sanction women's wrestling. Yeah. What does that mean for you to be part of that foundation?
Well, I take a lot of pride that Hawaii was the first at something, right? Representing, and I attribute it to the fact that, I think this year is the 50th year of Title IX, and Patsy Mink had a huge, say in movement for that, and she represented Hawaii well in that. And I take a lot of pride that Hawaii the community itself gets behind sports and the people and just what it means, right, to be behind kids or people from Hawaii in pursuing any opportunity that they're given, right? So I take a lot of pride that Hawaii was the first to sanction girls wrestling as a sport separate from the boys, and to see the growth to where it is today. There's still 20 other states that hasn't sanctioned girls at a high school as a high school sport for women's wrestling. So, there's still a push in our movement to get it sanctioned because we want to give all these girls and these women opportunities, to compete and wrestle,
Right, on an even playing field.
On an even
because
playing
instead
field,
of, before you have to compete against boys.
Boys, yep.
And like we talked about, at some point, let's just be honest, the strength, it changes, right? What's interesting, you mentioned something, when you came out, you only had 5 opportunities, 5 schools that were doing scholarships for girls wrestling.
Yeah.
And now there's how many?
Yeah, well, so the college I went to, Missouri Valley College, was the only school that offered a women's wrestling scholarship that had a program out of those 5, right? So now there's like 80 something schools, give or take. I don't know. I swear each day they're adding a program at some school somewhere in the US. I'm just saying this is just in the United States. So I'm trying to push University of Hawaii to get a women's program so I can come back home.
Let's go. Hey, you wait. So let's go. We need a women's wrestling program so we can get the best in the business coming back. Let's go. Bro, we tagging University of Hawaii in this right now.
Let's go.
Amazing. Well, look, Clarissa, thank you so much for taking the time. I know this is like your downtime.
Yeah.
So, it's great catching up. And, thanks for joining us here in the CO2 Rundown.
Thanks for having me.
And that is it for today's show. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Wow. And again, Clarissa, thank you. Thanks for not taking me down on that or pinning me. Look, guys, also, congratulations to our weekly Football Fever winner. So easy, guys. $500 cash in your pocket. Go to the Honolulu Star-Advertiser newspaper. Get yourself a Football Fever ballot, okay? Monday through Wednesday. You gotta turn it in at some point to select Long's Drugs. Give yourself a chance to win that cash. Also, grand prize winner at the end, a big green egg Kamado grill will be available. And thank you to our sponsors for making Football Fever possible. Hawaiian Telecom, Mercedes-Benz of Honolulu, and Long's Drugs. Guys, enjoy the rest of this Aloha Friday. And like I always encourage you to do, enjoy the weekend. Recover. Relax. Reset mentally, physically, whatever you got to do, because come Monday, we are hitting it and we setting the tone. I'll see you guys. Come on.